Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Angela Scott. I'm the Chief Executive of Aberdeen City Council, and in addition I'm a member of the National Programme Board, which is overseeing the creation of the new single national body to strengthen national leadership and critical mass to public health in Scotland. So in both of those capacities, and in addition I'm also Chair of the Aberdeen Community Planning Partnership, I'm delighted to welcome you to today's event. Today is a great opportunity for us to hear directly about the Public Health Reform Programme from the national political and executive leadership that's driving it forward, as well as hearing from sectoral colleagues too. Just to remind you briefly of those practical actions which Scottish Government and COSLA have committed to taking forward following the 2016 Health and Social Care Delivery Plan, it was to set a national public health priorities that will direct public health investment across the whole of Scotland, to establish a new single national body to strengthen national leadership, and to set up local joint public health partnerships between local authorities, NHS Scotland and others to drive priorities forward. Many would say that we are living in a perfect storm of increasing public need, demand and expectation, coupled with decreasing resource and capacity. We're all wrestling with our place wicked issues, those complex and intractable problems that continue to evolve and keep resisting resolution. And we all acknowledge that such issues can't be solved by single agencies acting alone. And of course, we don't act alone. Over the last 10 years, the interconnectedness and interdependencies of our systems has become much clearer. But given the perfect storm we're in, a different response is required from us, and never was this more true than how we choose to respond to the challenge we're given by our national and local political leaders to improve the health of Scotland. And I phrase it that way deliberately rather than saying respond to reforms to public health. So while we face the negative forces from the conditions which are creating the perfect storm, we should also think about the extent of our collective burning ambition or aspirations. We'll hear today about the priorities that were launched by the National Expert Group, the articulation of a set of public health priorities for Scotland, and your views in debating them will be helpful today. The co-directors responsible for delivering and driving the programme forward view this as a whole system reform and not simply the introduction of yet another national body. Systems leadership has been identified as a potentially powerful response to the particular contemporary conditions of volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity we face, rather than the more traditional and familiar forms of leadership. System leadership is a collective form of leadership which involves the concerted effort of many people working together at different places in the system and at different levels and across organisational boundaries. So we need to coalesce around some things, and of course these should be focused on outcomes for the populations we serve. And I suspect that what unifies us in this room is a shared determination to achieve better outcomes for the people in the localities that we serve as local authorities. We must hold on to this and build on it, and we must come into engagements like today with a fundamental belief in the value of cooperation and partnership. There is no single agency response to the political challenge being set. So today is our opportunity to start discussing how we coalesce around these launched public health priorities and how we start to think about doing things in a different way given the different places we occupy in the system. In these discussions, we must be focused on looking at the whole system. One aspect of that will, of course, be the creation and design of a national body, but let's make sure we bring balance and perspective to that aspect. We must stay focused on the whole system. Now is not the time in my mind to be moving deck chairs and having turf wars about where we place different relevant functions across partners. This can't be a time to take a win-win approach. Instead, as we look at the whole system and not just our parts, we might need to cede ground in order that the wider collective might benefit. To gain more, you might have to give way. Thereby we win, even if I lose. This requires us to nurture a stronger sense of public service that emphasises wider public service goals over the goals or working practices of the specific existing professions, agencies or sectors. So even with the creation of a new National Public Health Agency, It won't represent the silver bullet, and I know the national team understand that. The national body will have to work collaboratively across the whole system. So we need to use the development of the national agency to improve the design of our multi-dimensional response to a series of interlocking issues. Of course, what we will need to do is to create the optimal balance between localism and nationalism. At a local place level, we have the scope to develop our whole system leadership approach because networks are defined within a small geographical area and a number of required relationships can be small. We can see our mutual interests coalescing around ideas of community and our population. As a place leader, I'm not bothered about who does what. I'm more bothered about things getting done. Within the Aberdeen Community Planning Partnership, we've been on an accelerated journey as we've sought to coalesce behind our citywide local outcome improvement plan and our 3 locality plans. I'm sure you're doing exactly the same. At the heart of our LOIP and our locality plans is an ambition to end the cycle of deprivation and create a cycle of prosperity for the people, place and economy of Aberdeen. And as I reflect on the membership of our community planning partnership, I see the Council, NHS Grampian, Police Scotland, Scottish Fire and Rescue, Scottish Enterprise, voluntary sector, 2 universities, the college, the prison service and the courts, to name but a few, all engaged in the business of well-being of our people in place. So in my mind, the Community Planning Partnership is an existing public health partnership. And of course, we have 32 of these across Scotland. So in understanding these local existing public health partnerships, I think that gives us a frame for considering what's needed at the national level. And certainly as a member of the Public Health Oversight Board, I'm asking the group to be thoughtful about these CPP partnerships in the context of the whole public health system. And of course, the integrated health and social care partnerships sit within the context of these 32 community planning partnerships playing their part too. And of course, we have a range of other local joint partnerships which are established. As this audience will know, education is a significant determinant of public health. I, like you, am an education authority as a council with responsibilities for children attainment. The Scottish Government's introduction of regional education collaboratives has been welcomed, and our own in the North East, the Northern Alliance, has the potential to give us an effective platform to test different things out, and if proven to be successful, to then scale them up across 8 administrative authorities. So another example of a local joint partnership coalescing around attainment as one of the many determinants of public health. Our local partnership arrangements for our civil contingency duties are discharged through the local regional partnerships, which in my case covers the North East region of Aberdeen City, Aberdeenshire and Moray. And of course, these partnerships have a public health dimension too, as they are concerned with the rescue and recovery from a range of causes of harm, including health outbreaks like pandemic flu. So we have a number of existing local public health partnerships. In fact, local government's history is firmly rooted in public health. We now need to think about how we connect our existing public health partnerships into this whole system piece beyond our geographical domains. In Shadow Life, the new national body has given us the opportunity to define a set of national public health priorities together. It's also useful to think about how the national body could help enable the conditions for system leadership. Research suggests that current approaches to statutory and professional regulation, inspection and quality assurance generally are considered to be important inhibitors of effective and true cross-system working. So if we want to transcend boundaries, we need change. The existing multi-agency inspection approaches are welcome and are going in the right direction, but do we need them to be more embracing of risk and innovation and more open to developing a more systems cognizant inspection model, less focused on compliance with process and more focused on overarching and system level outcomes? Does the 20th century professional body registration and regulation models fit for integrated whole system working? What could the national body do in terms of the national public health workforce? A debate that we must be present in as local government. As a local authority, my organisation is a planning authority, an education authority and a housing landlord of 22,000 properties. My spatial land planners can and do have a significant impact on the public's health, but would we, under our existing professional classifications, call planners, teachers, housing officers, public health practitioners? How could urban planning be developed further to maximise the opportunity to use place design as an important public health intervention? And should the local director of public health have a statutory role in relation to the local and regional spatial plans we're required to have? The current planning bill perhaps gives us the opportunity to create that duty. In thinking about our whole system and its operating model, we need to be thinking about the role of empowerment, both citizens and communities. If I'd said to this room 20, 30 years ago, you'd be sifting your rubbish into bins, taking those bins down to the street and returning your bin back to your door and not doing that for a fee, you would have laughed out loud. But of course, it's a reality for us today. What would be the equivalent in the context of public health? Could we imagine a time when citizens self-immunised? Self-screening for bowel cancer men is already here. Is it such a big leap to move to self-immunisation? Now is the time for us to start to think about the art of the possible, and I hope we in this room support and encourage and play our part in the renewal of public health leadership to start doing things differently. So that's enough from me. All that remains for me to do is to thank you for coming along today and to encourage you to participate in the discussions fully throughout today.